Welcome everyone, so glad you're here. Today's explainer is all about the incredible power of deep focus, and more importantly, exactly how we can use it to literally rewrite our core beliefs. We've got a lot of ground to cover, so let's just jump right in.
I want you to ask yourselves honestly right now, why do we settle for scrolling? I mean, just look around us. The modern world has engineered our culture to systematically destroy our attention spans. We walk around with phones glued to our hands, completely addicted to these unlimited, instantaneous, little pleasurable moments. And what's the actual cost? We're trading our ability to remain focused on the long-term stuff, the things that actually matter, like our marriages, our businesses, our ultimate goals in life, all for a quick dopamine hit. We've kind of become like children, demanding instant gratification, and we're forgetting entirely how to build the long-term resilience required for anything truly everlasting.
Okay, let's dive into this because the ancient texts actually diagnose this exact modern condition. The prophet Yeteshko talks about the heart of stone. See, when we constantly fall into these temporary quick fix loops, our heart's hardened. We adopt these temporary solutions that don't actually fix our problems. They just delay them. And before we know it, avoiding the real work of resilience, that becomes our natural reaction. That rigidity, that complete inability to face the hard things and instead just numb out with instant gratification, that is the very definition of the heart of stone. To fix this, we need to completely rethink how we understand belief. The Torah tells us that when the Yidden crossed the Yam Suf, they saw the Egyptians dead at the sea, and then they believed in Hashem. Now, a lot of people misunderstand this. They think, well, they saw miracles, so they believed. No. Seeing the Egyptians dead was a fact. It was physical reality right before their very eyes. The belief wasn't about the present. It was about the future. Their belief was the visionary ability to stand at the sea and clearly envision the future Beis Hamikdash standing before them on Hashem's holy mountain. Belief is entirely a tool for the future.
Think of it like this. Imagine someone promises to give you $10 million in exactly 10 years. If it's an absolutely guaranteed fact, well, you just wait for it. But if they tell you that you simply have the ability to earn $10 million in 10 years, well, that requires belief, and belief is not passive. Belief means actively transforming yourself right now. You have to ask yourself, what does the $10 million version of me look like? What is my posture? How do I react when people criticize me? You actively rewrite your identity to match that future vision.
To actually pull that off, there are 3 non-negotiable pillars of belief. First, you have to create a vision. You establish exactly who you want to become. Second, you make choices. Because you have that strong vision, it naturally dictates your daily actions. If someone insults you, you say, wait, I am an emotionally stable and successful person. How would that version of me respond? And third, you must maintain focus. You literally cannot afford to let your attention drift, or you will immediately fall right back into your old habits.
Let's look at how this builds, because right here is where things get really dangerous. I call this the autopilot trap. Our brains are brilliantly designed to create stress-relieving shortcuts. The first time your pipes burst at home, you run around in a wild panic. The second time, you efficiently call the plumber. That's a great shortcut. But here's the warning. If we don't actively check in on these shortcuts, we end up running the exact same old emotional scripts for decades. Without focus, we use these same blind shortcuts when dealing with real financial stress or addictions, trapping us in these destructive, repeating loops.
This brings us to a word that has a whole lot of baggage, but we are going to forcefully redefine it right now for all of us. Hypnosis. Forget the stage tricks and the magic show stereotypes, folks. Hypnosis is simply a state of deep, intentional focus. That's it. It is nothing more than putting the brakes on our runaway autopilot so we can take an honest, completely undistracted look at our core beliefs.
Because when we don't put the brakes on, a very dark internal dialogue takes over. Just listen to this and tell me if it sounds familiar. What if I fail? I've tried so many times before. Nothing ever works out for me. I'm a failure. That feeling of shame, that deep-seated fear, it hijacks the wheel of your bodily controls. When that feeling takes over, you start blaming others, yelling, crying, and eventually, just to find a fleeting moment of peace, you drive yourself right back toward indecent pleasures or momentary and scrolling gratifications.
So, what does that dark feeling truly want from us? Seriously, don't run from it, confront it. Ask yourself right now, does this feeling want you to repeat the exact same broken pattern for another 5 years, or does it actually want you to change for the good? And this brilliantly illustrates the power of what we're talking about. If you can dedicate just a few minutes of absolute, undistracted focus to trace that thought pattern, everything changes. You listen intently to your own inner voice. You locate where you are being stubborn. You catch those ego-driven excuses, and you find the corrupted belief.
And once you find it, you override it. You connect it to a positive terminal and ask, who do I truly want to be instead? Now, diving into your own deep thoughts is incredibly powerful, but it must be done safely. You need to set the scene. You have to do this in a positive, humble environment. Imagine sitting alone in the sukkah, looking ahead at the winter months. It's a setting where you know, with absolute certainty, that no matter what difficult emotions surface during your deep focus, you will end up looking forward to dancing at a simcha space shuiva. You absolutely have to anchor your deep work in an uplifting environment.
And the absolute key to doing this correctly is true humility. Humility is not just some tool you use when you need to ask someone for a handout. It must be a core personality trait. Admitting that we don't know everything is literally the only way to clear your eyes from bad vision and bad gossip. It is the only way to see through the lies of your ego directly to the core truth, connecting you deeply to Hashem, who is the ultimate source of all good.
Now, we don't really have the luxury of sitting this out. Remember the Parsha of Tzitzis? Hashem says, I am Hashem your Lord, twice. Rashi explains that Hashem is saying, even if you try to opt out of the system, I will forcibly be your king. Listen to me, your life is on the path Hashem set for you. If it is meant to be, the earth will literally quake beneath you, and life's trials will force a choice upon you whether you like it or not. You cannot just sit on the sidelines. You must choose wisely. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. This sounds great, but how can I possibly focus on all my emotions without it taking forever? I have a job, I have a family. Well, what if I told you that you already have the ultimate built-in life hack for this exact process? It's tefillah, your daily prayers. True belief and trust in Hashem transforms davening from a chore into a holy, structured, daily opportunity for deep emotional regulation. You don't have to carve out extra hours. You take the times of the day. When you step into His house, you elevate your emotional state, and you forge a vision of yourself standing before the Almighty, sending your prayers soaring up through a mighty whirlwind of angels.
Now, what's really interesting here is how we extract meaning from the words we say every single day. We have to stop treating these Hebrew words as mere physical definitions. Take the word shemesh. Don't just think of the physical sun outside. Use it as a focused trigger to connect with Hashem as the ultimate spiritual source of light. When you say ahavas olam, actually focus for a minute on feeling eternal love. Embody deep compassion with rahamim. Satiate your internal drive with ratzon. These words are meant to be deeply felt, emotional triggers.
So the crucial point is this: emotional stability does not come from the hollow joy of scrolling on a screen. True emotional stability is the active pursuit of your vision. Tehillim tells us, and He satiates all the living with will. Once you establish your will and take actionable steps toward that future vision, you will feel a level of satiation and fullness that is profoundly deeper than eating your favorite 5-course meal. Sometimes doing this alone is really tough, and that is exactly why sitting with a skilled guide, like a hypnotherapist, is incredibly valuable. A guide accelerates your insights. They help gently hold your focus safely on a designated path while you navigate through those difficult, dark feelings we talked about earlier. Doing this with a guide helps you uncover deep insights much faster, fundamentally strengthening your emunah and your resilience for daily tests. But I want to be incredibly clear and responsible here. Guided hypnosis, deep focus, this whole process we're discussing, it is a deeply helpful tool, but it is emphatically not a replacement for proper medical care, therapy, or medication. If you are dealing with clinical depression, severe anxiety, trauma, or health conditions, you absolutely must continue working with your doctors and qualified professionals. This supports that work. It does not replace it. Which brings us to our final question. The choice is yours and the power is in your hands. Will you continue to stay numb, just scrolling through life on autopilot? Or will you put the brakes on, command your focus, rebuild your vision of who you are meant to be, and step fully into your true potential? Hashem has placed tremendous power inside each and every one of you. Stop making excuses, start focusing, and go change your life forever.